Hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm real good. I'm real good. Thank you.
Do you have a question that we could put up here?
Me?
We're on that? And the link was sent out that month?
Yep. That's how you're on. Okay, start.
I have to laugh at number 9.
Yes, it's happening still.
Are you serious?
Yes.
In this market? No.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, I tell my buyer, then you're not gonna get a house then. It's not gonna happen. You gotta go home.
Are you gonna be sitting up there? Or how you-
Yeah, I'm gonna sit.
Okay.
So let some of the stragglers
There's
get the
a straggler over
link.
here.
Get the link.
Sorry. It's okay.
Nothing we can't see.
Joe, you can sit out here because I want some opinions from you later.
Okay.
And then we'll see what we might be able to do in social media, if this is relevant or not. How can we slice and dice it up and put it out there? Are you gonna hang there, or do I just need to push the buttons and go?
It's up to you. You need me here? Yeah.
I don't need you here, so I'm sure you got something else that you can do. Good morning.
I was gonna say, just sitting there, I can't see you. It's 8, 9, 10.
That doesn't matter. I'll do it when I'm over there. Okay, so be going between y'all and over here. So we're gonna get going. Hyro, if you want to go ahead and leave, all I gotta do is push the button over here.
Yeah.
Push that. Okay. So the topics of today are gonna be VA loan not being accepted by seller, which we're gonna talk about both sides of the coin on that. Redfin or Duffy model and what they're doing right now, and as the market has heated up, those models will become more popular, and you need to know what the heck you're doing. You gotta be very strong in your dialogue and your intellect with real estate in order to be able to diffuse people wanting to go on these type companies. And we're gonna look at their websites and see what they're putting out there so that you can know. Let me ask you this, have y'all been to the Redfin or the Duffy sites?
Not to Duffy, I won't touch Duffy.
Well, you need to know everything you can about Duffy because I see their signs coming more and more out
Yeah,
there.
but Duffy.
When should I invest in postcard campaign? How do I make sure that clients see our value when I'm charging 6%? When to add, and I guess that really is up in line with number 2. When to add motivated seller or below appraised value? Most effective farming technique, FSBO technique, and how to procure those. Good morning. active, this listing went from active to pending to active. And since the pending was at the full price, the seller said, hey, I want to raise the price now because we got a quick offer and we got it full price. So I should be able to get more. How to handle that? Buyer wants to make very low offers in today's market, and I mean very low. And buyer's agency, when to get that contract signed. And is it for your protection or the seller or the buyer's protection? What does that really mean? So what I will do for recording purposes, if you hear something in this that you want to go back to, we'll send the link out again. And then what I will do so you can see exactly where we are. So if you go, I don't want to listen to the first 8, I just want number 9. I'm going to X through or line through as we cover the topic so you'll know those things have been done. Okay. So VA loan not being accepted. I'm going to tell you what, let me ask you this. Do y'all know why a VA loan would not be accepted?
I think maybe the unknowns. Didn't really know much about
See,
it.
appraisal.
The appraisal.
VA and FHA appraisals are the ones that typically we hear more of being low and killing deals. And then what happens with VA and FHA loans is when you have an appraisal, it is locked into the system. That gets a number assigned to it, that case number, and that's locked into their system for 6 months. So if you have a VA loan and the appraisal comes in low, then nobody else with that can now get it appraised, and then you've wasted market time. So there are agents out there that are telling their sellers, if they have a hot property and they get multiple offers, or in this case, they didn't have multiple offers, they had a hot property, and the agent said, we don't want to work with VA loans. The seller, didn't say we, said the seller does not want to work with VA loans. The offer was a very strong offer. They didn't even come back and negotiate. They just said, we will not work with VA loans. And what do you do with that? I look at it as the seller side, and it's one of those where if you have competitive bids coming in, then you talk through the appraisal situation and you educate them on that, but let them make the call, because you may have a VA loan come in at 100% finance, meaning the people are not going to put anything down. But if the appraisal comes in low and they don't have cash to put into it, where does that get you? So they could be the highest offer, but because of it being VA, it may put them as the second or third best offer. In this situation, being that there weren't any other offers, you're up against a tough road, because the buyer, who is a veteran, goes online and looks at the listing, and it doesn't say anything about special conditions, things we won't work with. So it basically just says, hey, there's nothing going on here, so whatever you want to bring to us, we will work with. So the veteran got very upset, understandably so, feeling like they were, discriminating, which they weren't. They were just basically, they were loan discriminating, but they weren't discriminating against him being a veteran. But I've heard this twice, and the veterans get emotional. And this is an honor that they have, that they worked for our country, and they now have the ability to get a VA loan, and they got a seller tell, this is the second one in the last 30 days. They have a seller telling them, I don't want to work with a VA loan. And both parties took it very offensively and didn't want to use any other type loan but VA, because it's very favorable terms to a veteran. And it was all, I believe it was all based around the VA appraisal contingency, or the VA appraisal situation. So if you're in that situation and you're working with a seller that doesn't want to work with VA, you might want to get with Jeff or the mortgage company that you work with and find out how many VA loans actually close that are going through. How many of them have VA situations? We closed 2 VA loans last week. So do they close? Absolutely. Are they worth taking a chance on somebody? Maybe ask them, hey, can you get me your specific credentials? Make sure you have a pre-approval letter from the lender. Talk to the lender. Find out what you can, everything that you possibly can to set it up, going, hey, if it appraises, you got a good qualified buyer. And then it's just coming down to appraisal situation. You need to go in there and build the appraisal package, which, by the way, this would be a great topic for Tuesday's sales meeting with Scott Murphy. What I'll do is I'll ask Scott Murphy to come in and really focus in on VA and FHA appraisals, the good, the bad, the indifferent, so that maybe that'll be a hot topic for Tuesday's sales meeting. Because there's a lot of ins and outs on appraisals that I'm not a specialist on it. So If you got a specific question around VA or FHA loans, come to Tuesday's meeting or pipe in online, and Scott Murphy I'll email him after this and have him tune in on that. But do everything you can that could be the only offer that those people get. You know, we're seeing the market cool off a little bit, so I would go to the seller and say, hey, I went to the other agent, I got the lender's information, I talked to the lender, they're good on their credit score, they're good on that, they do have cash if they had to cover if they had to add money into it, so they've got cash, they've got good credit. The only thing we'd be worried about really is going to be the appraisal situation, which I'm going to build a packet that talks to the appraiser and hopefully gets things through and we don't have any issues with it. But I'd educate the seller and say, we might have an issue. And if we do, then we'll know we can't sell to an FHA or VA person later on. And we just have to go conform. Make sense? So very situational, yes.
Just to make sure that I'm wrapping my mind correctly around VA. So let's say we have a house that's 200,000 and then the appraisal comes back as 190. So then the house has to go down to 190 because of the VA appraisal? Is that what's going on? You don't have
No,
to.
you don't have to. It basically opens the door to renegotiate.
Okay.
So in the contract, the question was, if you didn't hear it, we got a home that's 200,000 is what the contracted price is for. The VA or FHA appraisal comes in at 190. Does that mean we have to go down to 190 or what happens? And that's basically, you just reopen the door for negotiations. And you never know. If it's a very hot property, typically the sellers are going to say they can cover the difference and we'll just put it back on the market. If that were the case, then if it were FHA or VA, you go, okay, what we have to understand moving forward is we will not be able to accept a contract from somebody unless you're willing to sell it for 190 for an FHA or whatever loan it was, if it's VA or FHA. So we won't be able to sell a home to a buyer that has that. We'll have to go and really narrow it down. So then you would put in the description, cannot accept a VA or FHA loan. And you might, if you got a seller that's like that, you might just want to go ahead and put that in there. Seller will not accept VA loan. You know, because I think in this case, if that was in the listing, the veteran might not feel so bad because they were advertising that. And that's really where the emotions got struck up. I went and checked it out and they weren't advertising it. So they're saying, we'll welcome anybody. And now they're saying that I can't, as a veteran, buy that home. So if you're a listing agent and you know you got a seller that's not willing to do that, educate them, try to get them to be willing to work with it, as long as you do the protection part and talk to the lender before you accept a contract. But if not, and the seller is absolutely dead fast against that, then put it in the description so that you don't run into that situation from a buyer's agent that's working with a veteran that's going to end up getting emotional about it. And sometimes you might not know that they're not going to be willing to work with it. You don't know what they've heard. So educate, listen, and see what you can do to have them work with that, if it makes sense. Do your homework on the front side, though, and talk to the lender. And remember, be here on Tuesday, and I'll have Scott Murphy address this to be specific on VA and FHA loans and exactly what they do. All right, this one, I'm going to go off this screen here. We've got Redfin or Duffy model. It doesn't matter the company. This is not a situation where you've got another agent, let's say with RE/MAX or Keller Williams or any other company, that they're going in and saying, I'll list your home for 4.5% commission, and you're fighting agent to agent on that. This is a model, a brokerage model coming into the market. And I've seen several commercials on Redfin, and they're good. And they say, hey, we'll sell your home at a higher price, full service, with an expert in your area for 1.5%. Look at the money that will save you. On Duffy's site, it says, I will list your home for $500 up front and then 0.75% at the time that the home closes. And then you rent the stuff, but that's their model. So I'm going to go off screen here. I'm going to pull up both of their sites because you need to go in and you need to check out redfin.com, and you need to go in there and really poke through their systems and see exactly what they do and don't do, so that you can have a good shot of educating somebody and saying why you, as a true local expert, has a much better opportunity to get them sold versus the Redfin agents. And I'm going to tell you, there's a big difference of the way Redfin operates and the agents that they're going to attract versus the agents that we will attract and the things that we will do to help you get out there and be the expert. So I'm going to try to go off screen without pyro here. We're going to see if I can do it. Let's see what happens. Hallelujah, we're there. Okay. So this is Redfin's website. It says sell your home for more, pay 1.5% commission. Get better results when selling with Redfin agents. This says Redfin agents sell homes for $4,300 more and charge only a 1.5% listing fee. Do you think that's true? I don't know what they pulled from, but here's what I'd recommend. Go to the page and click learn more and go read up of what that's, where they got that statistic so that you can know, hey, is this against for sale by owners? I'm gonna bet it's against for sale by owners, and that statistic is from that. It will not be from, we can win against full-fledged realtors that go out there and perform their business. Then look down here, it says full service agents, modern technology. Paragraph says we're full service local agents who get to know you over coffee and on home tours, and we use our online tours to make you smarter and faster. More than 10,000 customers buy or sell a home with us each year. And they are just starting, actually they started a couple years ago in Atlanta, and now we're starting to see the commercials come behind, which means either they were not as successful as they wanted to be, so now they're backing it up with commercials, but they are committed to making Atlanta work. Duffy, well, let me stay on Redfin here. Go check it out. Their model is set up where if you are a showing agent and you're working with buyers, you get paid like 50, and last I heard it was $50 per home that you show. Now, let me ask you guys this. If you're a professional agent, are you going to accept $50 per home that you show? I hope you don't. So that is a fee-based model that is not going to attract the top talented people that wants to grow a business. It will attract people that should get out of the business and are looking at that as a lifeline. And that's not, if I'm out there in the world, I'm going to have a lot more knowledge than what those agents typically will. I'm going to know the inventory. I'm going to be able to educate people more than what these people will, because they'll typically go to there. I went through one of the showings, and the guy pulled out his Apple Pad, and he had everything generated from the company. So they have a very technologically strong platform, but the agent is not like a wealthy business-minded agent. They're just going and pulling up the stats and stuff from their computer, and whatever the computer tells them, that's all that they know. Okay, big difference. Same thing is going to hold true on their listing appointments. And remember, this is different from going up against an agent that decides to reduce their commissions. This is a big model. And for the next year, 2 years, as long as the market is strong, this model is going to become more in your pocket, and you need to know it inside and out. And when they say full service, what does that really mean to the consumer? I'm going to tell you, you drive a better platform of getting a home out online, but you also need to study the market, know the high school trends, and be able to go out there and show them the difference. If you're not willing to step outside and come in here and sit down and work with me on your neighborhood, on your high school district, the chances of you being able to beat this machine is not that good. Or you're going to have to go out there and be willing to do it for what they're charging, 1.5%. And if that's your game, you can do that. I'm not going to be happy, because all you're doing is selling on price, and we sell on value in here versus price. Value is built by your market knowledge, the drive that you have, the things that we do behind you. All those things come together that make your abilities significantly more than what they're going to get out of a Redfin agent.
They're still paying 3% buyers.
3% to the buyer's agent, and you're going to pay 1.5% commission here. And they're selling 1.5% commission. Do you think there's going to be a lot of people contacting them? Yes. Full service. It's Redfin. They got great commercials. It's very good. This is a company that was built, a website platform that was built into a brokerage. Okay. So it's basically a lead gen company that pours commissions out. I've always said that. I apologize if I offend you. I'm not here to be politically correct today. So, but this is their model. The whole brokerage was built off an online portal. And this is what's called a disruptor. In today's market, this is a disruptor. They're going to go out there and they're going to intend to take a lot of money out of the true full service agents' pockets. Their agents don't have the relationships that you'll be building. Their agents do not do the things that we do to grow a business. Their agents are being fed from just sitting there and waiting for leads to come in from their website. It is a totally different mindset of being an agent. Your income will be greatly reduced being here. So if you're really wanting to grow a business and maximize the payout for your effort, this is not the model to go with. And so you got to look at it and go, how am I going to develop my business? How good? And you might be going, oh my gosh, I need to get out of the business. I can't compete with that. It's not hard to compete with this, but you got to be committed to going out there and learning trends, talking a different language than you might be talking today, and constantly improving, coming in here to the meetings, learning things, asking questions, going out there, and you can beat these people all day long. And if you can't, at least if people go, I want to list with you because you do have a better platform for me, but I'm not going to do it for more than 2%. If you get 2%, great, take it if it makes sense to you, right? You have the flexibility to do what you want to do. I want you to be able to go out there and articulate at a high level so you can get 3% against a Redfin agent. And trust me, there's a big difference on what you can be versus what these people are, period. Would you like, hey, let me ask you this. How would you guys feel if I went out every day and advertised, come list with us, we'll do it for 1.5%, every one of my agents will do it for 1.5%. How would y'all feel about that? Right? So as a brokerage, I want you guys to have the freedom to make the business choices to do what you got to do. If you got to negotiate your commissions down and you're brand new and you're going, hey, I don't have my model in place yet. I'm working on it. But man, I'd rather take a 1.5% listing than not get a listing. Fine, build your base. But we want you to build it where you are in the mindset of going, I'm a 3% agent. I am worth it. And in the commission thing we talked about 2 weeks ago in this segment, there was 4 components you had to talk about. The buyer's agent pay, that was 3%. The broker's fee, the marketing fee, and then the agent fee. The most important component out of that is the 4th one, the agent. That's where most people fail at communicating why you need to list with me in addition to the machine I got behind me. So if you want to practice on that, just get down with me. I don't get down with me. So now let's go over to Duffy's site. Do y'all have any other questions on this? Okay, so, but go look at these sites because the consumers are being attracted to these sites. And these are our competitors. And I'm seeing more and more Duffy signs. I know we're going to be seeing more Redfin signs. So, because the commercials are appealing. Duffy, they changed their website. Who's seen this website? This is the front face of Duffy right here, okay? This has changed in the last couple months, I think, because the last time I pulled it up, it did not have this. This is pretty good. I was impressed. This is the bottom part of it, by the way. But what they're doing is they're going, hey, put in your home sales price right here. So whatever your value is, you can click on this little thing, go across, and the more it increases, it'll show you exactly how much you're going to save. So say their commission, 6%. And so you plug in 130, it'll plug in 6% right there. Versus the Duffy commission with buyer's agent shows you 53.75 versus 7,800. That's pretty compelling. Duffy commission without buyer's agent, 14.75. So what they're saying is, hey, guess what? Come to us. You're going to automatically save about $2,300, right? It shows down at the bottom, $500 up front plus 0.0075. That's 0.75, and then 3% commission. Pretty simple. Duffy commission without buyer's agent, they don't charge the 3%. If you're a seller, you're going to see that and go, wow, look at the money I can save. Who's this going to appeal to? FSBOs. This system will appeal to FSBOs. And by the way, Duffy was created by who is a licensed attorney. Rhonda Duffy was, I don't know if she still has her license as an attorney, but she's a very smart woman and went through and built a model around the ins and outs of the real estate market at that time. She's a very smart woman, and she has made a deal with her agents that the agents have bought the company from her. And so they've got about a 6-year run, her and her husband, of helping them run the company, and then they're off in the sunset.
Worst thing about that is when you call to make it home, it's horrible. There's this long voicemail message, and we don't provide you with any information, and you have to get it yourself, and all this stuff. And I'm like, so I mean, a lot of it is probably they'll say, I'm showing out at the next house. You know, I mean, because it's not a pleasant experience for an agent.
What I can tell you is if you're full service and you have professional photos put in of your homes, which I recommend to anybody, if you are 300,000, well, to me, 250 and above, you need to be hiring a professional photographer. And that's the bottom line. And if you look at their pictures online, they typically let the people, do all the pictures. The people are responsible for doing the advertising stuff typically. They've got their professional photographers they'll do, but the people have to pay for it, right? Do the people have to pay for your professional photographer? No. Do the people have to pay you $500 up front? No. So Duffy doesn't care if the home sells. They're getting $500 up front. If they have 200 listings, do the math on this. 200 listings times $500. What is that? 200 times 500. It's either 10,000 or it's 100,000.
100,000.
Okay, 200 active listings done by over the line because they don't really have to go do face appointments because the people are going, you know what? I don't think realtors can sell better than I can. I know the home value and my home's $400,000. I want to go out there and say, well, let's see, what would $400,000 be? Let's use their website. $400,000, let's say $398. Wow, that saves me a lot of money. $23,880 would be what I pay there. That saves me about $8,000, $8,400 if there's a buyer's agent. But man, if there's not a buyer's agent, which I believe I'm a pretty strong salesperson, I'll be able to not have to worry about a buyer's agent. I'm going to only pay $34.85. I'm going to save $21,000 if I'm able to sell it myself. What do you think about that? Oh, and by the way, they do say, wow, we do offer all these things. Now they're touting that they do full service. They don't. So it used to be their model was $500 up front. You rent your lockbox, you rent your signs. They made profit off those things. They did not charge the 0.75%. Now they charge the 0.75%. And I guess they include the lockbox and the signs in the $500 stuff. So the way I would compete with this is saying, hey, do you want to get your home sold and do you want to have to pay for the marketing to go into it? Or do you want to hire an expert that has good connections with other agents in this area that I will market heavily to them? You don't have to pay me a dime. So in other words, I'll have thousands of dollars out of my pocket to market your home, have a professional photographer and do the right, correct online strategies, have the proper staff behind me. And I don't get paid a dime unless your home sells. Which would be better to you as working through that system? Doing everything on your own and having an agent that doesn't have the right systems and staff behind them, or working with an agent that doesn't charge you a dime unless your home sells? Think about it. If they have 200 listings and they got $500, that's $100,000 in their pocket. They don't care which one of those homes sell. I do. I've got money out of my pocket. Who's going to be more driven to get your home sold and get you a higher price? Make sense? Did that sound okay? By the way, I haven't tried that in forever, so if it didn't sound good, I'll brush up on that. But the overall thought process is you're not going to win every one of these. This model is driven towards a for sale by owner. If you're heading for sale by owners, you might as well go ahead and get into this model and understand the ins and outs of it, and understand if you're talking to a for sale by owner. And I was working with an agent that was working on a for sale by owner. She did everything right. They communicated with the person. We're going to talk about the strategy for sale by owner a little later on, but she did everything that you could ask an agent to do. Had great communication with the seller that was for sale by owner. They went Duffy. And I don't think this particular agent could have done anything else than what she did. It was just a function of this. And by the way, this guy's way overpriced, which a lot of for sale by owners are. So they're overpriced and they undervalue realtors. So how do you sell the value of a realtor and what we do versus what they do? My encouragement to you is go read up, go see what they say about buyer's agents, go see what they say about listing agents. They really do a great job of wording things to devalue what we do. They call, I don't know if they still do, but she used to have a radio show and she said, don't go work with a taxi cab driver. She basically assimilated a buyer's agent to a taxi cab driver. They have no value but to drive you around. Save the money of the 3% they're going to take. We'll split the cost with you. We'll give you 1.5% back if you go work with the listing agents, which by the way, I'll segment over into that. As a listing agent, I've never liked putting in the system that says, if I show your buyer, you will get paid 1% or 1.5%, whatever it is. I've never liked that. Now we're getting into a land where I'm almost going to start encouraging it, because this model right here says, if we show you less than 2 homes, if we have to show you less than 2 homes, we'll give you 50% of the commission back. Go check it out, because it's very descriptive in how many homes they show. So what does that encourage the people to do? I'm going to contact the listing agent and make them waste their Saturday afternoon to show me the home, so then I can bring in Duffy and have them split the commission with me. So that's why a lot of agents got sick of it, and that's why you see agents put in there, if I show your buyer first, the listing I will pay is 1% or 1.5%. I've never been a fan of that, but as these models start to become larger, you got to control your business what you see fit. I still believe this. I'd rather be the one that shows my listings than an agent that doesn't know how to sell my listings. So if I can work with their buyer and I provide a better service for my listing, then I better sell them on what I did to get the listing, and hopefully I'll get more referrals from doing that action. That's my belief still. But as I'm seeing more and more of these come in and taking commissions from the agents that did the work to get the home sold, I'm not feeling too good about it. So whatever side of the fence you're going to be on that, make sure you understand why you need to do it or not do it. Any questions on this? So go check out Duffy Realty of Atlanta in Google, and it will pull the site up for you. And that will be beneficial. So we're going to go back to the whiteboard. Good morning, Lewis.
Good afternoon.
Now I'm going to get better at this, but last week I was like, okay, we're going to send this out, and I want people to go in there and find the, because you're not going to want to hear all these sections, but some of them you might want to go back to and re-listen to it and, take notes on it. What I'll recommend, if any of these touch you, or if you guys got a question, anything that pops up, just let me know. When should I invest in a postcard campaign? This is my belief. And understand, when I listed and sold, I had a 60% market share in Old Atlanta Club. So this is a portion of farming when you want to take on a neighborhood. And when is the time? One, I believe this: if you don't have a year's worth of once a month postcards to be going out, then don't waste your time. Now's not the time. So if you don't have 1 year saved up, set aside, where you can comfortably say, each month I'm committed to putting a postcard campaign out in this neighborhood, then you don't need to do it, because it typically takes about 3 to 6 months for a postcard campaign to get effective. The message needs to be the right message. And, but, you also need to have your understanding of market trends, your understanding of the high school district. You have to be very articulate at the game. And if you don't have all that down, then don't worry about it. You need to go put other things in place and build your foundation better before you invest in something that's not going to yield you any dollars. I've seen people, I saw an agent do billboards, and they were brand new to the business. And I thought, wow, what a shame. They have no idea how to convert those leads. They have no idea what the trends are. And they're probably getting some leads from it that they're going to spend a lot of money and never be able to convert anything. So build your foundation first, understand the trends of that neighborhood, sit down with somebody that's better than you at understanding all of those things, which would be who in this building? Myself, Rob Scanlon, Robert Shepard, or Debbie. On those starting off, unless you can sit down with us and go, hey, here's what I see trend-wise going on in this neighborhood. Here's why I want to take this neighborhood on. And here's what's going on in the high school district. If you can do that, and then you got your 12 months in reserve, and once a month those postcards need to be going out, then you go ahead, you're about ready. But here's what I'm going to tell you. What do you need to do in conjunction with just the postcards? You have to be socially engaged in that neighborhood. So do you play tennis? If you're into sports, go get on a tennis team before you start doing the postcards. If you like book clubs, go get involved in the book club, movie club, go dinner club, whatever your social connections are, go get involved in those groups that are in the neighborhood that you want to market. Then look at the neighborhood that you want to market and go, is there a dominant agent in this neighborhood? What would be a dominant agent? I'd go into the active listings and I'd say, does somebody have 20% of the listings that are in here? If they do, that's a pretty repetitive active agent in that neighborhood. Now go check out the pendings and solds for last year. Does that same agent have multiple sales that have happened, or do they not? If they do, and somebody's performing between at least 20 and 30% of a given neighborhood, you might not want to go after it right now. Go get your game plan down in another neighborhood that you can focus on. Go call the association president, go walk the amenities, get to know it intimately, and then here's your challenge. This is the biggest challenge of all. If you want to have the most effective campaign in postcards, then how much non-cost work are you willing to do? And what I mean by that is, are you willing to go out there with some information, trend analysis, introduction to you, to the neighborhood, and go door knock every single door in the neighborhood? And you don't do it on one Saturday afternoon. You go, I'm committed to this neighborhood. I'm going to go knock on these doors, 10 to 20 homes at a time, and I'm going to segment it out. After I've done, let's say 40 to 50 homes, I'm ready to send the postcards out, and I'm going to keep doing this over and over. These people are going to get to know me. They're going to get to know me face to face. I'm going to be involved socially in the neighborhood, and I'm going to send out the postcard campaign that always has two variables with it: my production and trends in the neighborhood or high school district, whatever it is. And the way that I used to do it is I go, if you can hit somebody in their pocketbook with everything that you do, meaning financially, what do they need to know about the market? What do they need to know about mortgages? You set the first month up as, I'm going to hit specific to the neighborhood trends better than anybody else does. And I'm going to say something about the production that I do or the company does that's going to help me look good in their eyes. Because the only two things that somebody has to see the value of you as a realtor comes down to what have you produced and how do you analyze the market and what do you say about the market. Those are the only two things that matter business-wise. And if y'all want to challenge me on that, challenge me on it. But as a consumer that doesn't know you, the only thing I can rate you on compared to the others is not, hey, I'm the greatest. It's, here's what I know and interpret as to the market that's your home's located in, and here's what I have done. Not in a braggy way, but going, hey, they need to know what you have done or what you're linked into. If you have no production right now, you leverage what we've got as the office. And if you need help with that, you can come see me. But the other thing is, are you willing to door knock and meet people face to face? Most agents fail at that. They're not willing to do it. I'm going to tell you, to make this the most effective campaign for farming, that's what you need to do. Relationships are built that way. And by the way, on this one, when you have listings, active listings that just come up, go ahead and send it out. When you have pending sales or solds, go ahead and send them out, in addition to the 12 that you committed to for that year. Okay? And then the other thing is how I set myself up when I was listing and selling. 1 month I'd do the neighborhood or high school district. The next month I would do local area changes, like roadway changes, shopping malls that are coming to the area, changes that would be lifestyle changes or roadway changes to that area. And then the third one would be a national trend, mortgage rates going up or down, a Forbes magazine article. So that gives you 3 different things. And then the next month, that'd be 1 quarter, you do those 3. The next month you start at the local trends or neighborhood. Then you go to the local area changes. Then you go to a national thing. That's what you do. You rotate that around. So you're never going, what do I need to send this next month? Those 3 things will just rotate over and over and over, and it makes your job a lot easier. Yes?
How do you feel about a one-page newsletter?
I used to do a 1-page newsletter. As long as you don't have to open an envelope, I'm a fan of that.
Me too.
So, I'll look at it this way. I know somebody was in here with FMLS the other day and they said, do an unmarked envelope. Forget the envelopes. If you can't send something that hits them right in their hand when they look at it, you got 1 second to grab their attention. I don't want them to open an envelope because I know if I get a blank envelope, I typically don't open it because it's somebody trying to sell me something. But if I grab something out of the mailbox and it hits me in my wallet or has an article that I look at the headline and I go, oh, I might want to read this. I might hold on to that. I might not. But if you don't put something that hits them in their pocketbook, then you don't have a good chance of them reading anything that you put out there, period. I mean, just think about your own habits. There are things that you grab out of your mailbox and you go, oh. And if you're doing 12 months of that, you're going to hit them with something that eventually they go, oh, this person's sending stuff that's not real salesy. It's stuff I want to know about. Send me in my pocketbook and in my area. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Okay. How do I make sure the client sees our value? Well, I'm just going to say this. I think if you're updating them on trends, it's your mind that means the most, right? So setting people up on a system that you're always communicating with them, this is what I'd recommend. And most agents never create a system around listings. First week, I want to send them market stats. First week is active since everything is going to go back to trends will be from when their home was listed. So you mark the date down in your calendar and you go, I listed this home on June 1st. I'm going to update them every single week with something. First week is actives. Second week is pendings and solds. In their high school, by the way, this is all high school district. In their high school district, and then expireds and withdrawals in their high school district. And then the fourth week is anything marketing related that I did to market their property, they're going to get that after 30 days. So then I start back over. Actives since their home was listed. Pendings and solds since their home was listed. Withdrawals and expireds since their home was listed. And marketing for the last 30 days. If you do that, do you think they're going to question your value? No. And if their home doesn't sell, you're updating them every single week with something that shows the market changes. I can't control that. There's more inventory that's been added. The pendings have sold. Why have these homes sold and yours didn't? And you go in and you analyze those things. Does that make sense? If you do that, I don't think anybody will ever question your value. When to add motivated seller or below appraised value? You don't have any opinion on that?
Not when it's a new listing. I wouldn't, I never put that in. I think that motivated seller screams, hey, bring me any offer, they'll negotiate anything.
I agree. Anybody believe different of motivated seller? Lois, how do you feel about that as a buyer's agent? You're going to show a home, you see motivated seller.
Love.
Huh?
I love motivated seller. That means I can do a really good offer.
Yeah.
You're going to lowball it.
Benefit.
What's your buyer going to think? Let's go cut their knees off. Right?
Right?
If we're going to leave their knees, then let's cut their whole leg off.
Right.
I mean, so what would show, here's my opinion, what would show motivated seller better than anything else? A great price, period. A great price shows a motivated seller. Usually when somebody says motivated seller, I kind of snicker because it means the seller's not really willing to go down to the price they need to get the home sold. So we're having to put some BS in there that says motivated seller, which they're not. They're overpriced. That's why it hadn't sold. We're having to say they're motivated, which they're not because it's overpriced. So for that person that sent me in that question, get the pricing down and that shows the market you're motivated, you'll have multiple offers. So if a seller says, I'm motivated, bring me an offer. Let's show them a price that shows that you're motivated because right now you're overpriced. That's why we're not getting any offers. Make sense? So I do not like this stuff. I like pricing it correctly, and you will make mistakes. When you make mistakes, focus on the pricing, not saying stuff like motivated seller. If you really price it and you got a motivated seller and you price it right, you don't have to put that in there. Anybody disagree with that? And I truly do look at it and go, what are you sending to a buyer's agent? I would look at that and laugh. If they were motivated, it would be sold by now. Okay. Most effective farming. And Lewis, I know you've done quite a bit too, so I want your input on this. I go back to the postcard campaign. And my postcard campaign is not for the weak-hearted. My postcard campaign is you becoming the expert in that neighborhood, you door knocking and meeting all the neighbors, you being socially engaged in that neighborhood, and you sending out an effective postcard campaign that shows your production and the stuff that we talked about each and every month, mixed in with when you have new listings, you slap those in there. So those are additional postcards and solds in a non-offensive, non-aggressive way that shows I'm the consultant and I'm the expert and I'm the one that you should want to work with. If you got a friend, call me because you want to know what my perception is in addition to your friends. Okay. That is my number one farming thing because it's not just one thing. So my favorite farming technique is highly involved in the neighborhood, socially engaged, involved in different committees or organizations like tennis leagues, golf leagues, whatever it is, something that you like and truly enjoy doing. And what I will tell you is this, I have seen agents go join a group because they want to get business. They go, oh, there's rich people that go in that. I'm going to go be that so that I can get business from rich people. No, you go get involved with groups that you truly enjoy being around those people. And the natural form of communication is when you're around people that you like and you're doing similar things, they go, what do you do for a living? I'm in real estate. What's the market like around here? And you either pass or you fail with that answer. So then it goes back to, if you do everything to build your foundation right, you will sound like a great agent and they'll want to refer you stuff versus sounding ignorant, but they know that you're an agent that they don't want to work with nor pass their friends along to. So it all comes down to, what have you done to prepare yourself for going and meeting people that are in common like things that you are? So when you combine all that together, my favorite effective farming technique is heavily involved, heavily articulate, know the trends in the area of the high school and that neighborhood better than anybody else does, and work at your game every day and get socially engaged in that neighborhood and door knock every single home. If you do those things, nobody else is doing those things. And if you go, I don't like the door knocking, I think that's a little aggressive. I'm not going to sell anything. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to give you trends on the neighborhood, and I'm going to introduce myself and say, I live in the neighborhood, or I live down the street, whatever it is. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to introduce myself to you. I'm going to be focused on this neighborhood. So here's some interesting facts on your neighborhood that you might not know. And my card's attached on there, so if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. By the way, would you mind if I ask you, out of all the neighborhoods out there in this area, why did you select this neighborhood to be the one that you want to live in? That's where the conversation will happen. You'll get a little bit of information. When they're done, I appreciate it. Let me know if you got any questions or anything. Be right around the corner. If I did that to your door, would you ever feel offended by what I did? No. What would you think of me?
It's fun.
It's not bad.
People are nicer to your face. I
Yeah,
feel,
they
in
are,
person
yeah.
over the phone.
But that's a good thing. When did you do it? At night.
Yes.
So either go 10 to 11:30 on Saturdays or in the evening time, right?
Nobody's home.
And don't go out to sell them something. Don't go out in the daytime and go, I went door knocking and it was Monday through Friday and it was the daytime and nobody was home. So I just that's weak. Go meet people. Highest time they're going to be home, between 5:30 and 7. Don't go past 7. And by the way, it's daylight longer now, so it's going to be daylight during this time. But 5:30, it's still very hot out there. But 10 to 11:30, you might be able to get away with not as much
I'm
heat.
sweating.
Right.
And by the way, you don't have to don't get dressed up when you're door knocking. Go dress down. You're being casual. You're out there walking the streets. You're doing stuff that no other agents are doing. So go, hey, I'm out here. I'm working my butt off. That's what the message you're sending is. I'm doing more than other agents. I'm giving you valuable information, and I'm not selling you anything. I'm introducing myself to you. And then you're going to be getting the postcards. How would you feel about it?
Know that I'm gonna, send me some information out.
I did that in Kentmere, and when I went and I door knocked, she goes, "Oh, I got your postcard. I remember you." And 3 months later, she sold her townhouse with me.
Bingo. That's it. Now just imagine if you had a 12-month.
Imagine. I would have had everything.
But I mean, think about it. So these are the dots that we got to connect. So it's like what we had is we had somebody here say, I went and did that and it worked. Now, if you got to put the dots together and go, how much more business do you think you would have if you, one, advertised that home getting listed and you put just listed out there, and then when it sold, you did just sold, and then in between that, you've got the 12-month cycle going through.
Yeah, you gotta get.
Would you be the
ready.
dominant agent? You'd be owning everything right now.
Yeah.
So that's the component where you go, if you can connect the dots now, at this stage of your career, you can knock any door wide open. So excellent thing right there. Don't be afraid to go door knock. It's not that bad. And all you gotta do is go, I'm gonna go meet people that don't know me today. They're gonna get to know me as a professional realtor, non-aggressive realtor, but the best realtor. Okay?
That's hilarious that you brought up the dressing, because I basically dressed how I am now. And people thought that I was trying to support a political party. I wore
You are the realtor
walking
party.
shorts. I was like, no, I'm not Republican. We're not gonna vote that.
I just wear walking shorts and a cute little tee, sandals, and
Now I'm gonna tell you this, if you really wanna expand your career in this business and really go, I'm growing a business in Fulton County, and I think in Gwinnett County, you have to have a license to go door knocking. And you have to wear it around your neck, I know, in Fulton County.
Really?
Solicitor's license is what it's called.
Really?
In Forsyth County, you do not. But I'm going to tell you guys this. If I'm committed to this business and I'm going to grow a business and I'm going to focus on a neighborhood and draw a lot of business from that neighborhood, I'm going to get my damn solicitor's license if that's what that area requires.
Wear it around that neck.
And do whatever you got to do. I mean, that's commitment to growing a business. So your business is drawn from doing things proactively that you might not be doing today. But if you're growing a business, go grow the business. And if that county requires a solicitation license, get the damn license. It's that simple. Be committed to your profession, but do it in a consultant type style versus I'm going to sell it. You don't know me from Adam, and I'm here to try and get a listing from you or a friend that you know. Would you guys do that to somebody that you no? So build value around what you are, make it a long-term commitment. That's what you need to do. FSBO technique.
I'm about to go to FSBO appointment at 11. That was an expired listing, now they're going FISBO.
Okay, so FISBO, what are they thinking? They're thinking the market is so great, I can list it myself, I'll put it on Zillow and the home will sell. Is that happening? Yes, it is, okay? We had it happen on a $575,000 listing in Old Atlanta Club. I'd talked to the guy for 2 years, right? But he told me, he said, I am going to list it on Zillow for 2 weeks. If it doesn't sell, I'm going to work with you. He'd gone out to California. Redfin is huge out in California. So his whole mindset changed when he started looking in California and seeing Redfin and going, he got totally convinced on why do I need to pay an agent to go put on Zillow's everything. And I'd walk in their home, and every single time I walk in their home, his wife's sitting there on Zillow looking at homes in California, right? And so their whole brain was trained, and they had these messages and stuff. It sometimes doesn't matter who you are and what you say, they're going to go that direction. And I knew he was going to go Zillow and do for sale by owner. And he did. And he put it on Zillow, and within 2 days, he had multiple offers. He got full price, no closing cost, $575. Third highest price in Old Atlanta Club, and no commitment. No, he's paying the buyer's agent. The buyer's agent took less, 2.5%, because there were multiple offers. Now, what I'm hoping is he doesn't go share that information with a lot of other people in Old Atlanta.
Right, right.
Okay, so FISBO technique. They're thinking they can sell it on their own. You have agents calling them. The agents are calling them to list their property. The agents are not calling them to go in and help them sell their home. And I want you to think about this. My FISBO technique when I was listing and selling was, I'm going to go do what I say I'm going to do. I'd call the people and say, hey, would love to come preview your home, saw it's for sale by owner. What time would work for you? Someone would say, do you have a buyer? Do not lie if you get that question. Here's your answer. You know, I don't have a buyer for your home right now, but I might meet somebody tomorrow, and the only way I'll know if they're a buyer for your home is to come see your home today or tomorrow. What would work for you? Is that true?
Yeah.
Yes. If you were a FISBO and I said that to you, have I lied?
No.
No. How do you feel about me?
Pretty good.
Well, you know what? That makes sense. That's true. You'll never know if you've got a buyer for me if you don't come here and see it first. So I could pop into somebody later on today that's a perfect candidate for your home. Let me come through. I'm not going to try and list your property. I just want to come see it. And you go through the home, and if your pretense is I'm going to go preview, should you talk about listing? No.
No.
If you talk about listing and you tell them you're going to go preview, then you're a liar. People don't work with liars. So now let me tell you this, have a listing packet in the car so that if the appointment turns into, gosh, I like the way that you work. What could you do to help us sell our home? Tell you what, I got some information out in my car. Let me go grab it for you.
So as far as this one, because they expired yesterday, they were on the market for 450 days with, I think, a relative, she said.
450 days with a relative in the hottest market that we've ever known. Isn't that great?
Right. So, no, it's definitely overpriced, and they're selling for like that mid-4s, and he's at that high 5s. So, I mean, he's definitely overpriced. But, so going in there, you know, I said, well, look, let me just come in, take a look at your house in case I do happen to come across a buyer. And they're like, sure, absolutely. So I've now pretty much shut the door on going in there as them being just an expired listing, and now I have to go through the whole FISBO technique.
Which is building a relationship.
It is.
And it might be different because they were expired and they've been on the market for 450 days and probably ready to sell, maybe. But FISBO, it's a process. You don't know, they could be ready to list in a week. It could be 30 days. They're going to get tired of it at some point in time, chances are. So a lot of them are overpriced. Know your market so you can educate them and say, gosh, you know what, here's what's going on. I'm not saying it's impossible to get your home sold at that price, but here's the trend. I can't do anything but show you what the market is. As a professional realtor, all I can do is interpret the market, show you what's going on, and based off what I see, you might need to adjust the price down. Educate them. Yes, Lewis.
One of the things that I noticed that worked for me is especially when you have a FISBO that has been such a long time in the market, one of the biggest things you can use is the times in the market of the other properties used by realtors. Usually you can show that the marketing and the work that you have done, you are being able to sell faster than anybody else, or at least you can show that by using the relatives, you know, and using their numbers have not worked. So now you have some stats, you know, that you can draw there, show that, and that will open their eyes real quick.
Yeah, and there's two things that I'll cover with you on this, and that is, has anybody ever told you the 3 types of buyers that there are?
I know there's looking.
So the first one is looky-loos. Looky-loos know they're not going to buy a home within the next year. So they're not committed to getting with an agent. They don't want to bother agents. They'll go look at for sale by owners because they're the least worrisome. And they'll tell a for sale by owner, oh, your home shows great, we love it, blah, 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 blah. And the for sale by owners never hear back from them. And those people don't buy anything. Second type are the investors. The investors are trying to save the exact same commissions that you're trying to save. So it doesn't match up at all. And if it does, they're going to come in and lowball you because they know there's no commissions in it. And the third type is the most important type for you to always remember, and that is the type that's got a contract on their home, needs to buy a home in the next 30 days, and they're going to go get with a realtor because they want to get the most effective search going and somebody that knows that market. So the one buyer that you're not going to have come in here is one working with a realtor and the one that you should be working with. So without being listed, you're never going to get that realtor in here. Does that make sense? And if you educate them and you don't try to sound salesy in it, oh, I didn't think about that, because they're getting showings, and because they're getting showings and they're hearing positive affirmations, they're going, we're going to get it sold. But the traffic that's going through there is not going to be buying their home, typically. Not always, typically. But it's a long process. So don't go in there to list their property then. And by the way, I always recommend, after you meet with a for sale by owner, take them a form. Go take them a seller's disclosure form and say, hey, just thought I'd bring this to you. Most people don't realize they need to fill this out, and it's for your protection and the buyer's protection. But fill it out, it'll help you get your home sold. Oh, I've never had a for sale by owner that had a seller's disclosure form filled out. What you're trying to do is show them there's a whole lot of contracts and things that you don't know that you need to have. I can take care of for you. Be their agent until you are their agent. That's the message that you need to send to yourself.
I had one in Three Chimneys Farm that I was helping, and they sold, and I was trying to help another one in Hunter's Walk. They sold, and I'm like, seems like every FSBO that I talk to ends up selling in like 2 to 3 weeks after I start talking to them.
That's okay. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. I'm going to skip down here to number 10 because I'm on a time constraint and I don't want to have this go too long. That is buyer's agency, when to sign, because I think that might be one of the most important topics up here. And if you've got a strategy in this, please share it. But we're going to end with the buyer's agency, when to get it signed. I'll add these next two to the next 2 weeks down the road. This is my belief. If you know your market and you know the inventory, you're not going to be taking people around with a specific list to 30, 40 homes. You'll take them into about 3 to 5 homes because they're going to be what those people want. And you'll have previewed the homes and you're going to be on your game. And they're going to buy within 3 to 5 homes, not because you were the best salesperson, you wedged them into something they didn't really buy, but because you know the market, you know the inventory, you listen to what they wanted, and you took them straight to the homes that made the best sense for them, and the neighborhoods that made the best sense for them. That's being a buyer's agent. If you're in that mindset and you're in that belief and you're in that knowledge base, truly, you don't ever have to have a buyer's agency agreement signed because they're going to know they're working with the best. So I want you to think about that. But the question comes down to this: human nature. If I met you for the first time and you've been working with other agents and they haven't asked you to sign a buyer's agency agreement, and you meet me for the first time and I'm getting ready to show you home, and I go, hey, before I show you home, I need to have you sign this buyer's agency agreement. With even the best communication skills, how many of you would feel comfortable in signing a contract with me that day before we go see any homes? Anybody? I don't know if any of you online or watching this later would feel comfortable. I wouldn't. And 100% of the room said no. You might have one that would with the best, but here's the reality. If you try to push that, are you now getting into kind of a tense relationship with somebody?
Yes.
So to me, you don't do it the first time out with them. You do it after you earn it out, right? So if I take you out and show you a couple homes, the ones that you called on, and I have good communication, I don't try to sell you a home that you don't want. I pay attention to what you want. I go, you know what? I'm going to find what you're looking for. Let's go out another day. I got a good cue on what the hot points are for you. Let me go see what I can dig up, and then let's go look at some homes later this week, okay? If I do a good job that day and I don't try to sell you something you don't want, and I ask questions and we have good communication, you're going to go back out with me. On that second appointment, if I do a really good job, you'll probably feel comfortable in signing up with me as an agent. You might not, but that's the time I'm going to try. It's my second time out with you. I'm going to try to get you to sign that buyer's agency agreement. If I've got my stuff really together, I've done a good job with you the first time, I did a great job with you the second time, you know what? There's a lot of information I've got that I can send to you without any questions. Let me go ahead and start representing you as your buyer's agent, get you to sign this out, because I'm going to be spending a lot of time not together. That'll be researching, previewing homes to make sure they're the right fit for you. but I'm gonna be taken away from my family. And, my family expects me to make money and stuff. So for my business, I need to go ahead and do that. It protects me and it also protects you. So do you have a problem at this time knowing that I'm the right agent for you? Can I get you to go ahead and sign the buyer's agency agreement? You'll either say yes or no. But those are cue points. I'm gonna know, is this person out to try and take my knowledge and go behind my back and, take advantage of the commission or not? And it's just a process. And then every appointment after that, you need to go try to get that contract signed. The better and firmer you get in your presentation, the quicker they're going to sign it. And then there's a lot of people out there today trying to get our commission, take advantage of our knowledge and go work a deal behind our backs. Protect yourself. The only way you can protect yourself is get that buyer's agency agreement signed. So I recommend after the second time showing them and doing a great job, I want to try and get that signed. And if you've done a good job connecting with people and that second time out, you show them homes that really are close to what they want and you tell them, I previewed these and based off what you said, this is why I'm showing you these out of all the hundreds of other listings out there. These are the only 3 that I'm taking you to today. Let's see if I'm in tune with what you want. If you're in tune and they go, oh my God, you really hit on the things that we want. That's where they lay down for you. But if you just go show them random homes you didn't preview, you didn't show any interest in them, you hit them homes that they didn't want, you showed them a stucco home when they said they wanted brick. You showed them a brick with one side versus 3 sides. You didn't tell them why you're showing them. They're not going to sign with you. They probably never will sign with you. But if you take control, you preview, you do a good job of listening to them, they'll sign up on the second time. So, second time is the time to get them. Or after that, you're evaluating, am I doing something wrong? Do I not know enough about them? And you're always trying to get that deal closed. Otherwise, they'll probably end up messing you over. And I've been messed over in my career. It hurts. Especially when it's a $500,000 deal that you worked months with the people on, and then they went and bought it for sale by owner and didn't have any allegiance to you whatsoever. Happens all the time. Any other thoughts on that? Okay, was this all right? Okay, so if you go, hey, he didn't really hit on any topics I really cared about, then send me some questions. It's that simple. So every other week we're going to do it. The next week I'm going to start off with this one was an active listing. It pended and went active again. And since the home was sold at the list price, the guy said, let's raise the price. Does that make sense? Well, it makes sense if you're the seller. Does it make sense to other agents? The other one is buyer wants to make a very low offer and they're a driver type personality. How do you control that? What do you do? Do you fire the client or do you educate them or do you kind of ride along and let them do that? That'll be the first 2 topics we start off with next week or 2 weeks from now. Y'all have a great remainder of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.